The rain was coming down in sheets that night, the kind that soaks you to the bone in seconds, and Marcus Washington was already late for his daughter's birthday call. He'd promised her he'd be home by 8, and it was 1:15 when he finally clocked out from his shift at Hartwell Industries. 15 years he'd been pushing that mop across those marble floors, invisible to everyone who mattered. 15 years of watching expensive shoes click past him while he scrubbed away their carelessness. But tonight, none of that mattered. Tonight was about Sienna turning 7, and he wasn't going to miss hearing her voice. The parking garage was nearly empty. Just a few luxury vehicles scattered across spaces that cost more than Marcus made in a month. He was jogging toward the bus stop when he saw it. A sleek black Mercedes with its door hanging open, engine running, interior light glowing like a beacon. The rain was battering the leather seats. Without thinking, Marcus ran over. Someone's car was getting ruined. He leaned in to hit the door lock, maybe close it, but his phone buzzed. Sienna's name lighting up the screen. He slid into the driver's seat just to get out of the rain for a second, pulling the door closed to hear her better. "Daddy! Where are you?" Her voice was pure sunshine. "Hey, baby girl, happy birthday. I'm so sorry I'm running late. The passenger door flew open and a woman dove inside, breathless and drenched. Designer suit. Dark hair plastered to her face, mascara running in black rivulets down her cheeks. She looked terrified. "Drive! Please, just drive!" she gasped. Marcus froze. "Ma'am, this isn't I don't care whose car it is, just go!" She was looking back toward the elevator banks, genuine fear in her eyes. That's when Marcus saw him, a man in an expensive suit, striding toward them with purpose, his face twisted in anger. The woman beside him pressed herself against the door, trembling. Every instinct in Marcus's body said this woman needed help. He put the car in gear. They were 3 blocks away before she finally exhaled, her whole body sagging with relief. "Thank you. God, thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't know what else to do." Marcus pulled over, kept his hands visible on the steering wheel. "Ma'am, are you okay? Should I call the police?" She laughed, but it came out broken. "The police? That was my ex-husband back there, Preston Hartwell III. She wiped at her face, smearing her makeup worse. "I'm Catherine Hartwell." Well, still legally anyway. Marcus's stomach dropped. "Hartwell as in the company?" "CEO. She looked at him properly for the first time, taking in his janitorial uniform, the name tag that said Marcus, Custodial Services. Something flickered across her face, not disgust, but recognition. "Wait, I know you. You're the one who found my mother's bracelet last year. You turned it into security," he remembered. A diamond tennis bracelet that had probably cost more than his car lying next to a trash can on the executive floor. He'd never even considered keeping it. "Just doing the right thing, ma'am." "Catherine," she corrected softly. "And apparently so few people do the right thing that it's memorable when someone actually does." She took a shaky breath. "Preston's been stalking me since I filed for divorce. Tonight he cornered me in the garage, said he'd make sure I lost everything, the company, my reputation, all of it, if I didn't come back to him. He's been spreading rumors that I'm unstable, that I'm having affairs with employees. He's trying to turn the board against me." Marcus didn't know what to say. He was way out of his depth here. "I have a charity gala tomorrow night," Catherine continued, staring at her hands. "The biggest event of the year. Preston will be there with his new girlfriend, and everyone will be watching me, waiting for me to fall apart, waiting to see if his rumors are true." "You should go," Marcus said quietly. "Show them he doesn't have power over you." She looked at him with tired eyes. "Easy to say. Harder to do when you're walking in alone and everyone's whispering." The words came out before Marcus could stop them. "So don't walk in alone," Catherine blinked. "What? Take someone with you. Someone who, I don't know, maybe someone who isn't part of that world. Someone who has nothing to gain and can't be bought or manipulated." He felt ridiculous the moment he said it. But Catherine was staring at him with something like hope dawning in her eyes. "Would you? I know it's insane, but would you come with me tomorrow night? Not as a date, just as someone in my corner. Someone real." Marcus thought about his daughter, about the values he was trying to teach her, about standing up for people who needed help, even when it was uncomfortable. "Okay," he heard himself say, "but I don't have a tux." The ghost of a smile crossed Catherine's face. I think I can help with that. The next evening, Marcus stood in a rented tuxedo that fit better than anything he'd ever worn, waiting outside Catherine's brownstone. His hands were sweating. This was crazy. He was a janitor about to walk into a room full of millionaires. When Catherine emerged, she took his breath away. She wore a midnight blue gown, her hair swept up, but it was the confidence in her bearing that really transformed her. She wasn't the terrified woman from the parking garage anymore. "Ready?" she asked. "Not even a little bit," he admitted. She linked her arm through his. "Good. Neither am I. Let's do this anyway." The ballroom was everything Marcus expected. Crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, people wearing more money than he'd see in a lifetime. The whispers started the moment they walked in. He could feel eyes on them, could see Preston Hartwell across the room, his face going red with rage. Catherine held her head high, her hand steady on Marcus's arm. They made it halfway across the room before Preston intercepted them, a blonde woman clutching his elbow possessively. "Catherine," Preston said, his voice dripping with false concern. "I see you've brought help, from the custodial staff, no less. This is exactly the kind of erratic behavior I've been worried about." The people around them had gone quiet, listening. Marcus felt Catherine's hand tighten on his arm, but she didn't waver. "Marcus Washington saved me last night," Catherine said clearly, her voice carrying. "When you cornered me in that parking garage and threatened me, he helped me get away safely. And unlike you, Preston, he asked for nothing in return. He's here tonight because I asked him to be, because he's shown me more genuine kindness in 2 days than you managed in 8 years of marriage." Preston's face went purple. "You can't prove any of—" "Actually," said a new voice, "she can." An older man in a security uniform stepped forward, holding a tablet. "I'm head of building security, Mr. Hartwell. We have footage from the garage last night, all of it, including the part where you physically blocked Mrs. Hartwell from leaving and made explicit threats against her position in the company." The room erupted in whispers. Preston looked around wildly, but the damage was done. His new girlfriend had already stepped away from him, disgust written across her face. Catherine turned to face the crowd, addressing them all. "For months, I've let Preston's lies and manipulations make me question myself. I've let fear keep me silent, but I'm done with that now. Sometimes it takes a stranger's kindness to remind you of who you really are." She looked up at Marcus, and there was something in her eyes that made his heart skip. "This man risked his job to help me. He showed up tonight to a world where he doesn't belong, where people like Preston would look down on him because I asked him to. That's courage. That's integrity. Those are the values this company is supposed to stand for." The applause started slowly, then built. Preston was already backing toward the exit, his carefully constructed facade crumbling. Security was moving toward him. Marcus couldn't speak. He was overwhelmed by the moment, by Catherine's strength, by the way she'd turned her vulnerability into power. Later, after the gala, after the adrenaline faded, they sat on the steps of her brownstone drinking coffee from paper cups, still in their formal wear. "Thank you," Catherine said softly. "For everything." "You didn't need me," Marcus replied. "You had that strength the whole time." "Maybe, but sometimes we need someone to remind us." She paused. "Marcus, I'd like to see you again. Not because of Preston, not because of what happened, but because in 2 days you've shown me more about decency and character than I've seen in years in my world." Marcus thought about all the reasons this was complicated. Impossible, even. The differences in their worlds, the scrutiny they'd face, the challenges ahead. Then he thought about that moment in the parking garage when he'd chosen to help a stranger in the rain. How that one choice had led here. How sometimes the smallest acts of kindness could change everything. "I'd like that too," he said. 6 months later, when Catherine walked down the aisle toward Marcus, not in some grand venue, but in a small ceremony with their families, including a beaming Sienna as flower girl, she knew that the best decisions she'd ever made started with that rainy night in a parking garage, because sometimes the person you need isn't the one you'd expect. Sometimes they're the one who stops to close a car door in the rain, who answers when someone cries for help, who shows up when everything is terrifying and uncertain. Sometimes they're the one who's been invisible all along, just waiting to be seen. And sometimes finding each other changes everything.